Hello everyone. We are going to discuss today about different forms of business organizations in the public sector. In the last videos we were discussing about forms of business organizations. There we have discussed various forms of business organizations in the private sector. That means we can divide the forms of business organizations into two categories. Forms of business organizations. We can classify that mainly into two categories. They are in the private sector and in the government sector. Government sector we can say otherwise as public sector. This private sector we have classified different types, starting from sole trader business. Sole trader business, then comes partnership form of business organizations, then HUF, that means Hindu Undivided Family Business, then comes cooperative societies, then we can say another one, company form of business organization. These companies we have again classified into two categories. They are private companies and public companies. Okay. Then these are the various organizations we have discussed so far. This under private sector. Why it is called the private sector? These are the sectors which are not under the control of the government. But whatever we are going to discuss now, they are under the control of the government. That means government runs the business organization for the benefit of the public. That's why it is called public sector undertakings. So here what we have discussed so far is under the private sector means is the organization which are run by individuals or the general that people in the country, owned and operated by the people in the country. So since they are contribute or establishing the business for their benefit, these organizations are called as private sector. Okay, understood? So here again we can classify one more thing. We can say that multinational companies, or we call it as MNCs, multinational companies. This we will study later. Multinational companies. Now let us study about different public sector undertakings. There are various different public sector undertakings are there. For example, we can classify that into three different categories again. Then we will write like this. Departmental undertakings. Departmental undertakings. Then statutory corporations. Departmental undertaking, statutory corporations, and the last one, government companies. Government companies means the company, like this companies which are formed under the control and ownership of the government. So these are the three different types of public sector undertakings. In this chapter, we will be discussing about departmental undertakings, statutory corporations and government companies. After completing that, we will be discussing the leftover portion of this forms of business organization, that is multinational companies. So let us start today with public sector undertaking. Out of that, we will be discussing today about departmental undertakings. What is a departmental undertaking and what are the features, merits and demerits? That will be the topic for today's session. Okay, let us start today with the departmental undertakings. Departmental undertakings. See, what is this departmental undertakings? This is the oldest form of public sector enterprises, or this is the oldest form of business organization under public sector. Okay, oldest form of public sector. So this is one of the oldest form of public sector. Why? Because this is the most common public sector enterprises ever started in the field of public sector. And the speciality of this organization is that this is a part of the ministry, or these organizations are run by particular ministry or departments. Okay, department of the ministry will be carried on these organizations or running the business organization. That is why it is called departmental undertaking. Okay, so for example, we can say that railway department. So it comes under transport ministry. So like that, whatever business organizations comes under departmental undertaking or departmental nature are under the control of the ministry. A separate ministry will be there to run that particular department. Okay, so what are the features of departmental undertakings? What are the features of that departmental undertaking? The first important feature is that the funding of this type of business organization comes directly from the government. That means funding or the capital investment comes from the government through government treasuries. Okay, so funding from funding of these enterprises comes directly from the government, or government invests the share capital of the business, and that fund comes through treasury, government treasury. Okay, that is the most important thing here. So since the fund comes from the government, all the revenue or the profit of these business enterprises goes directly to the. So funding comes directly from the government, and the income, whatever the revenue generated by the business organization, departmental undertakings, will go directly to the government. That is one of the important features. Another one is regarding the audit of the business organization, departmental undertakings. This business organization, the audit of business organizations are subjected to the audit and accounting policies applicable to other government institutions or government activities. So these departmental undertakings are subject to the accounting and audit applicable to other government activities. Government activities or institutions. That means for the government institutions, who does the audit work? Government Public Accounts Department is there. They do the audit work of the government institutions. Okay, AG's department is there, Accounts General department is there. They will do the audit work of all the government institutions. So they only do the activities of, or they only will audit the books of accounts of departmental undertakings also. So they have to prepare all the accounting books according to the instructions and guidelines of the other government institutions, which are provided or prescribed by the AG's office, Accounts General's office. Okay. Then third one, we can say that regarding the employees of departmental undertakings are government employees. Departments of or departmental undertakings. The employees of the departmental undertakings are considered as the government employees. They are the government employees and they are appointed and remunerated by the government. Okay, and these organizations, these departmental undertakings are headed by an administrative or IAS officer. That means the officer of the rank of Indian Administrative Service. He heads the business organization for each departmental undertakings. Okay. Then next we can say that this is considered as a major subdivision of government. Departmental undertakings are considered as the major subdivisions of the government. What is the benefit of that? Because all the activities are directly controlled by the government. So since it is considered as a major subdivision of the government, all the activities of departmental undertakings are directly controlled by the government. So we can say that parliament control is there for all the major activities of the government. So whatever they decide will be implemented in all the departmental undertakings. Whatever the parliament decides will be implemented in all the departmental undertakings. Okay, so it is directly controlled by the ministry or parliament. Then, since it is directly controlled and coordinated by the ministry, these departmental undertakings are accountable to whom? To the ministry. Accountable to the ministry. Okay, so railway department, then defense department, all these departments are directly under the control of the ministry. So they are accountable and answerable to the ministry. They are answerable to the workings of the business. They are answerable to the profit of the business. To whom? To the ministry. So every year after completing the procedures of financial matters, the financial reports are to be submitted to the government, and they will go through that. Okay, so all the activities will be controlled by the government and they are answerable to the government also. Okay, and what government says will be implemented in this type of business organization. Then let us see what are the merits of departmental undertakings. What are the merits? What are the merits of departmental undertakings? See, we can see various merits of departmental undertakings. For example, the most important merit is that it facilitates parliament to make effective control. Facilitates parliament to make effective control. So that is one of the important merit of this departmental undertakings. What is that merit? direct control of the parliament is there. Direct control of the parliament is one of the important merits of departmental undertaking. It is directly controlled by the parliament. So that much public accountability will be there. Then that's why it has high degree of public accountability. See, all the business organizations or all the organizations set up by the government is for the welfare of the public. So it has a public accountability because it is started or established by the government for the welfare of the public, for the use of the public. So how the functions of these organizations should be? The functions of these organizations should be in such a manner that it should facilitate better service to the consumers, that means the public, at a considerable rate or reduced rate. So whatever, suppose if any products are produced and sold by this type of business organization should have the value lesser than the products which are available in the private market or in the private sector. So like that, it should be for the welfare and benefit of the public. That's why it is called, it has a high degree of public accountability. That is another important merit. Okay, understood? So next we can say that funding, related to funding, we have told the funding comes from the government. Funding comes from the government, and so the revenue goes to the government. Revenue or the income of these type of business organizations goes directly to the government. That means it makes or it brings an income to the government. Public undertaking, that means this departmental undertaking generates income for the government. What is the benefit if government gets income? That income will be used by the government for the welfare of the public. It will be used for the benefit of the public. So if you get the service of a departmental undertaking after paying some money, if you get some service from a departmental undertaking, you can make sure that at least a part of that will come to you only or to the public only. Because this income or whatever the amount is derived by the departmental undertaking will go to the government through the government treasury, and whatever government gets will be utilized for the benefit of the public. That is the benefit here. So how it becomes a benefit is that if you buy any product from a private sector business organizations, it may go to the pocket of that private individual. Okay. On the other hand, if you buy any product or get any service from a departmental undertaking or any of the public sector undertaking, that will go to the government and that will be used for the welfare of the public. So at least a part of that will come to you. Okay. It will come back to you. That is the most important merit. So next, one more merit we can say here. The most important, that is one of the most important merit. Why? Because when there is a national security is concerned, departmental undertakings are best form of business organization. Okay, this is best or better form of business organization. See, when there arises any question of national security or when there arises any concern over the national security, In such a case, this form of business organization is very, very important. That means this business organization or this type of form of organization, departmental undertakings are very, very significant when we are concerned about national security. So we have told about military departments. That means the purchase or the production and utilization of all these arms and ammunities are under the control of that particular department. Can you imagine the position if we are giving all these facilities to a private organization? Can we assure the safety and security of the nation? That is not the purpose. So in that case, which form of business is the best suited for that is departmental undertakings. Okay. So these are all the various merits of departmental undertakings. So we have discussed here the features and merits, and we are going to discuss about the various demerits it suffers. Okay. Drawbacks, limitations or demerits of departmental undertakings. The most important drawback, various drawbacks are there. We can list according to the importance of the drawbacks. We can say that the first one is it facilitates or it provides or it fails to provide flexibility. It has no flexibility. Departmental undertakings are not having any flexibility. Why? It has no flexibility. See, you can consider any of the departmental undertakings with any private business organizations. We can see that if you consider any of the private organizations, they will be developing by taking some initiatives or new steps. That is not at all seen in this type of departmental undertakings. Why? That is because of the close control of the government. Here the employees are government or employees, and all the decisions are controlled by the government. So they cannot take any individual decisions, or they will not take an adventurous decision to promote their business. Because profit is getting or not, these employees are government employees. They feel that their employment, once they have got employed in the business or this type of business organizations, they are protected. And all the activities are closely supervised by the government. So it has lack of flexibility. And that is due to another reason, because these employees are not allowed to take independent decisions. Employees are not allowed to take independent decisions. These employees of this departmental undertakings are not allowed to take independent decisions. That is why there is no flexibility. If they are allowed to take independent decisions, if they can take independent decisions, what they will do? They will try to behave with the challenges by trying to take initiative steps to meet the challenges, because business always has some changes or challenges, and business has to face that. If you are ready to take risk, you will get profit. But these employees are not having any independent capacity to challenge or to take a decision for meeting the challenges. They are not allowed to take an advanced step for risk management. So since they are not allowed to take some initiative steps, they will not be bothered about that improvement of the business, because it is solely controlled by the government. So they have to do the work in accordance with the instructions of the government. So in that case, we cannot expect any flexibility or any innovative methods of doing the business or any modern or advanced business actions from the part of the departmental undertakings. Then we can say that the third one regarding the employees again. Since these bureaucrats are over-conscious about the enterprises, they are unable to take business opportunities. That's what we have told. There arise in the bureaucracy. These bureaucrats, what they are over-conscious. And hence see, these bureaucrats are over-conscious or over-concerned about the stability of the business. So they feel in such a way that if we take some new steps and if adversely affect this business organization, that will affect the performance and we may get huge loss, and further on in the shortcoming it may be forced to close down. So government will not allow employees to take an independent decision, and they have to get the permission from the government always to take a new decision. So in that way, the employees are over-conscious. We have told that a person is there which heads who heads the department in undertaking, an IAS officer. So he has to take an independent decision. But at the same time, he alone cannot take any decision because he has to get the consent for all the policy decisions from the government. And government is always over-conscious about the performance of the business for the welfare of the public. So government will not permit beyond a limit for the business organization or this type of business organization to take new decisions. So all are conscious about their position. And this consciousness stops them to do some innovative decisions for the welfare of the business. Since they fail to take an innovative decisions or novel steps, it will affect the performance of the business. Okay, that is the main problems faced by almost all the departmental undertakings. So you can think about railway department, and once if you have traveled in a railway or in a train, you can see the condition of the railway department or the services provided in the train, the facilities available there. So if you compare this railway department with any of the railway department of any of the foreign countries, if you compare with that, you can come to know the actual position of the departmental undertakings. That is due to the over-consciousness of the employees that stop them to do or stop them to take an innovative decision. Okay. Then another important problem is red tapeism. Red tapeism and delay in decision making, especially even if in the case of day-to-day operations, there red tapeism is there. What is this red tapeism? We usually say that that means it takes its own time to get the work done in a government department. In order to get the work done in a government department, it has its own time and procedures. So that series of procedures and time taken to complete the process in a government department is normally called as red tapeism. So that creates delay in all the even daily operations of the business also. In order to take a simple decision also, that decision has to pass through various levels in the organization to get it sanctioned. So that itself make the decisions delayed for even the day-to-day activities of the business. So that is another important problem. Then another reason for the lack of development of this department undertaking is political interference. Okay, that means a lot of political interference is there. See, these organizations are run by the government or controlled by the government. Who is government? Government is the government is backed by some political parties, or all the activities of the governments are controlled by the political parties, or that means the political leaders are form or political leaders forms part of the government. So all the decisions of the governments are political decisions. So we cannot say that departmental undertaking is away from the political control. Departmental undertaking suffers political interference from various parts. Direct political interference is there from the part of government, and indirect political interference is there from the leaders of the political parties outside the government. So all these political pressure for the departmental undertaking will curtail the development of the departmental undertakings. See, you can see that in departmental undertakings, you can see there will be a lot of trade unions, and they will have their own issues to get it satisfied. So if a decision is going to take, government has to think that how it will affect different political or trade unions, and they have to be satisfied. So there will be less chance to take a decision which will be satisfied by all the parties or stakeholders of the departmental undertakings. That's why new steps are not taking in departmental undertakings for the welfare of the business. Okay, and the last one we can say that this departmental undertakings, in the case of here, it is insensitive to the customers. Insensitive to the customers. Or insensitive to the customers' needs, and they do not provide adequate services to them. Many departmental undertakings fails to provide adequate services to the public or consumers. So if you consider a departmental undertaking, it will not, you can see that it will face a problem of lack of proper service to the customers. Let us consider the case of health department, where hospitals and all comes. See, we have plenty of government hospitals in and around our area, but people normally prefers to go to a private hospital. Why? Private hospital, they have to pay fee, doctor's fee is there, that consultation fee is there, medicine they have to purchase from outside, but all these facilities, or without giving any consultation fee, you will get treatment from the government hospital, and most of the medicines are available in the government hospital only. Even though you may prefer, some people may prefer to go to private hospital. Why? Because of the facilities they have. If you go to government hospital, you have to stand in the long queue. There may not be a facility to sit for the patients. Patients there, they will be tired, but may not have any facility or arrangement for making them to sit. and wait for the doctors. And in a private hospital, that doctor's service will be customized. That means according to the needs of that particular patient, he can ask whatever doubt, and he will, all the problems will be sorted out. Okay, so he will in a he will give, the doctor will give some that importance. We will feel that he is giving importance to me and hearing my problems. So that may not be possible in the case of a public hospital, government hospital, because lot of queue or people, many people will be there in the queue, and within the limited time this doctor has to attend all these patients. So because of all these problems, people may prefer to go to a private hospital. So all these, what the problem is, that the real problem is that it is insensitive to the needs of the customers. Customers' problems are not addressed properly, and services are not providing according to the needs of the customers. And since the majority of the employees, some of the employees, they may feel that they are protected as they are the government employees. So their behavior about the patients or the customers also will be in a rude manner. You may have faced such situations. So that's what their service are not customized according to the needs of the individual customers. So these are all the main problems faced by departmental undertakings. So today we have discussed about what is a departmental undertaking, and departmental undertaking is one of the form of business organization under public sector and business organizations, and what are the features of departmental undertakings, various merits of departmental undertakings, and limitations of departmental undertaking. Okay, is it clear to you all?